So the next step is test. And what were the results of the test? They went and they tested the oxygen levels. What were the results? Yeah, it was above the critical level. So there was fluctuation, but it wasn't below that critical level. So what's the next step then in our scientific method here? Yeah, first we reject this and we say, shoot, that didn't support it. So now we're back and we're going to we're going to devise an alternative hypothesis. So as we said here, these were the results, didn't support the hypothesis. So now we get an alternative hypothesis, which was too much food. So run me through what the problem with too much food would be. An increase in nutrients from the river. What are nutrients? Sticks, branches, leaves. Those things are loaded with what we call nutrients. Nitrogen is a big one, phosphorus, those sorts of things. And when those get into river water, they decay, they break down, and then they come down into the estuary, and those the nitrogen and the phosphorus molecules and the other nutrients become available. They dissolve in the water, and then the phytoplankton, which photosynthesizes and needs nutrients to photosynthesize, sucks it up, and then they can actually photosynthesize and reproduce more than they would if there were less nutrients in the water. So the nutrients that come down, if there's more nutrients like there are now here, then you can bet we're going to see an increase in phytoplankton. The phytoplankton is the little small kind of plant-like organisms in the water, and the algae is kind of the seaweed stuff, the bigger stuff. And both of those use nutrients. So if you get increase in nutrients, you get increase in phytoplankton and seaweed. And the other major point there is that once that increases too much, if you get algae on the surface, then the sun can't get down, and the other organisms living underneath the phytoplankton can't get sun to photosynthesize, they die. And when they die and fall to the bottom, what happens? Decomposers that are already living down there, all of a sudden they get all you can eat, dead phytoplankton, and so they're eating and reproducing, and there's more and more and more of them. And then what happens is as they're going, they're working hard and they're using up all the oxygen, and then suddenly there's less and less and less oxygen, and then the fish are like, and they die and float to the top. Okay? So that's the basic idea behind the too much food hypothesis, is that the fish will suffocate and die too. So that's our hypothesis.